Hello and welcome to Journey to You. My name is Jaden and I will be your host, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys for episode 1, where we will be discussing designing your future self. When you're ready to level up, you need to know what that looks like for you because it will be different for everyone. Living in alignment is living in alignment with your values, and knowing what you're working towards is really crucial. So, the first thing you want to do when you are designing your future self to know what you're working towards is being self-aware. Begin by reflecting on your strengths, weaknesses, where you are at the moment, and think about how you can use those to design where you want to go. What in your life do you want to keep around? What in your life do you want to get rid of? And that will help you set up the goals to become your best self. Consider your passions, your aspirations, what you like doing, things like that. For example, if you're really passionate about traveling, that could lead you to developing goals to learn more languages so then your future self can travel more countries more comfortably. Confirming your values is really important as well. A lot of people have so many values that just come from their parents or what they were taught in school, but spend some time reflecting on your values. For example, when I was in high school, there was a girl in my grade who was so lovely, and she just brightened up every room that she walked into with her kindness. And when I was self-reflecting to know where I wanted to go, I remembered that she was someone that I always looked up to, and one of my values is kindness. So now, when I'm going into a situation, I lean into how would someone with the value of kindness react? And taking time to pause between when you receive news and then react to that news is really important. And when you have something to lean upon, such as a value, it makes those moments so much easier. Some examples of values would be honesty, respect, love, family, friends, personal development, professional development, fun, education, and those values which you decide what your most important ones are will then help you design how you want your future self to look. For example, if you really value fun, then maybe you want to picture your future self as someone who has lots of hobbies and spends their free time doing hobbies, or has a job where they can do one of their hobbies as their job. If you value professional development, then you can see your future self as someone who works at a particular company in a particular role, or teaching other people how to develop within the company and climbing that corporate ladder to become a corporate girly. If you find it difficult to self-reflect, I would really recommend the 16 personalities test online. It is free and it's based off the Myers-Briggs type indicator, which is basically a psychological indication of all people that put us into 16 categories of personality. And obviously within those 16, there's different levels of different things, but it's really good. And if you've ever actually been on Tinder, when you put in your about information, you can choose your personality type, and that's what it's based off. And after you complete the test, which I think takes about 20 minutes, you can then go and look at your strengths and weaknesses and things like that. And it really helps with knowing where you are. In fact, I used to do this test all the time and I'd always get the same result. And then after about a 6-month period of self-development, I decided I'd do it again and my personality type had changed. So it's actually really cool as well to see where you're going and see your development as a person. And there's different things that you may want to work on based off your results. The second step of designing your future self is to visualize them. I love going on Pinterest and looking up, say one of my values was kindness. I'd look up kindness or kind girl and see the different things, and then I'd create a vision board. You can do that, and you can create a vision board physically on a piece of paper or a big board that you get from the post office or whatever. But what you can do, if you would prefer, is make a little collage for the background of your phone or a collage for the background of your computer, or just create a pin board on Pinterest with images that you like and you'd like to incorporate into your life. So for example, but if you don't actually know exactly where you're going, but you know that you want to travel, look up traveling aesthetic on Pinterest and there'll be so many different things. Then on there may also be affirmations that you can use for those types of things, like I deserve to travel, I am independent, I can do this, that kind of stuff. And then you can incorporate that into, that's what my future self would believe. That's what she would tell herself. And that is so interesting to look at other people's ideas of what traveling aesthetic is. It also helps you visualize your future self. So incorporating images, quotes, symbols, they don't need to be aesthetically pleasing. They can just be something that means something to you or makes you think of, that's a goal that I want to develop. And, it's so good having something physical that you can refer to, especially on days where you're not feeling very motivated. You can look at that and go, that's what I'm working towards. And then that will help you in the situations where you do need to lean on that version of yourself to act like when you're in a situation. I know when I was losing weight, something that really motivated me was just going on TikTok and watching before and after weight loss transformation videos. And there would be types of videos that I would actually then use the sound, and I'd create pictures of me at the time as the before, and then me where I wanted to go as the after. And that I'm just a really visual person. And if you are as well, that might really help. If a physical glow up is something that you're wanting to achieve, try doing that. Try editing your photos to how you want to look. And I'm not saying unrealistic beauty standards or anything like that. I'm saying whatever's healthy for you. And we'll dive more into that in another episode. But say you want blonde hair and you're saving up to go to the hairdressers because blonde hair costs so much money. You can just start visualizing yourself with blonde hair. And, maybe that version of yourself has blonde hair. So when you are being that person and acting like that person, you step into that version of you with blonde hair. So you can edit photos of you to have blonde hair. That's a really silly example, but you know what I mean. Now that you know what you're working towards and you see a vision for yourself and you have maybe an idea of the outcome of your future self, what they do, how they spend their day, that kind of thing, you now need to think about how you're going to achieve that. And that's why the third step is setting goals. You've probably seen all over TikTok at the moment the 12-week year that people are talking about. It's based off a book where the author recommends, instead of setting yearly goals, divide your year up into 4 and set goals each 12 weeks. And then you have quarterly goals and you achieve way more. And that is so true, because when you set a goal for in 12 months' time, it's more likely that that goal is actually an outcome. For example, an outcome would be losing weight, but a goal would be to drink more water, eat in a calorie deficit, that kind of thing. Setting clear, realistic, short-term and long-term goals really helps you stay on track. For me personally, each week I set my goals and my intentions, and then at the end of the week, I feel like I've achieved something. And because they are so short-term, they're achievable as well. Sometimes these big outcomes seem so far away, it's easy to put off, because also it's a year away. You can spend this month, not working towards it. That's fine. That's ages away. That might be your way of thinking. If you set those short-term goals, then it's more likely that you'll stay on track and motivated, and you set little smaller goals to work towards, then you feel even more motivated because you're completing them. So really write down what outcomes you want to achieve. What does your future self, whether it be your future self in 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, 3 months, 10 years, what outcomes do they have that you currently do not have? Now that you have those outcomes, you can look at dividing those outcomes into goals and make them weekly goals, maybe monthly. I would not recommend setting goals too far in advance because, as I said, it's easy to lose track of them and lose motivation to work towards them. So I'll give you some more examples. A personal goal could be to buy a home. Maybe your future self is a homeowner. So a small goal you could set would be each paycheck save X amount of your paycheck that you're able to save. Another personal goal could be to become a better listener. Your future self is a really great listener and people love talking to you. So a short-term goal could be ask people more questions when you're speaking with them. or read a book about people skills. If you have a professional goal to get a promotion, then your short-term goals could be to use a productivity app to help your productivity at work, or set a to-do list at the beginning of each work day to help you with your time management, that kind of thing. I like to categorize my goals into personal, professional, and well-being, and only have maybe one goal for each that I work on each week, like a daily goal for each one, because you don't want too many and then get overwhelmed. So if you just have one small goal for your professional goal, one small goal for your personal goal, and one small goal for your well-being goal, then you have something to work towards for each of those things, and it's not too overwhelming. If 3 things a day is overwhelming because you're a very busy person, then just focus on one at a time. An example of a well-being goal would be to eat healthier, and that's an outcome. So a goal for that could be eating more vegetables. When you have those long-term aspirations that you're working towards, something else you can do is set milestones. If your goal is to save $50,000 for a house deposit, you can set a milestone of when you hit 10,000 and then when you hit 20,000, and you can reward yourself. And it doesn't need to be a money reward because you don't want to spend the money that you've just saved, but take yourself for a beautiful walk in where you really love, or treat yourself to something, and having those milestones will give you things to feel proud of yourself for that are shorter term. Now, these small goals that you are doing every day, for example, drinking 2 liters of water a day, will slowly become a habit. And these habits will start to replace counterproductive behaviors. So if you have a bad habit at the moment of sleeping in till 2 p.m., if you start waking up at 12 p.m. instead, then that will slowly become more normal for your body, and then you can move that forward to 10 a.m. And maybe that's what works for you. Maybe a 10 a.m. start is great for you, and that can slowly become the new habit. Consistency is key to solidifying positive changes. When you're following these goals and showing up as the version of yourself you've blueprinted, you'll be living in alignment. So you'll be living in your best self. You'll be consistently coming from your best place and consistently showing up as the person you are deep down in alignment with your values. Schedule regular self-assessments or self-check-ins when you are working towards these goals, so you can rejig your goals if you need to. If the goals you've set for yourself are not realistic and you cannot do for longer than a week, change them. That's perfectly fine. As long as you are working towards them, you will feel proud of yourself and you will notice a difference. Celebrate your achievements and adjust strategies as needed. This interactive process ensures you stay on course and adapt to evolving aspirations. Okay, guys, so that is how you design your future self and how you start implementing behaviors to become that person. What I thought would be really cool is at the end of each episode doing a journal prompt. I love journaling. Journaling has completely changed my life and really helps with that self-awareness we talked about at the beginning of the episode. So at the end of each episode, I'm going to give you a journal prompt, and if you go home or pause this or finish this episode because we're almost done, but then reflect on this and do a little journal entry on the question, then you will slowly become more self-aware, and it'll have something to do with the episode so you can start putting into practice what we talk about. And today's journal prompt is, what are my core values? Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am sorry if it sounds a bit choppy. I was a little bit nervous to film my first episode, but thank you so much for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and like the video. And if you're listening, please rate the podcast. It does help out. And I will see you next episode where we will be discussing rebranding yourself and really putting into action the things that we've talked about today, and discuss more of the fun, transformative things you can do to level up. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.